Hey, church, thanks for tuning in. I want to share a story that I imagine many of you are familiar with. I'm going to read from the scriptures at the very, very end of it, but let me introduce it to you really quickly, just to give kind of the context. It's a story of the prodigal son. Basically, it's a story that takes place where Christ is describing this father who is well off, who has two sons. The younger of the two says, in essence, I wish I could have the inheritance now. Basically, I wish you were dead, Dad. And the father, amazingly, divides his property between them and gives the younger son his portion. Now, the younger son just tears off and blows it, unsurprisingly. And we find him in the next scene feeding pigs, which for a Jewish kid means he's basically hit the bottom. And he's near starving, wishing he could eat what the pigs are eating. And decides, I should crawl home and beg forgiveness from my father. Maybe he'll make me a servant. Well, the dad's been looking for him this whole time. When he sees him a long way off, runs out to him, reinstates him, all these beautiful things happen, and he won't have him as a servant. He'll only have him as a son. And he says, let's kill the fatted calf. We're going to throw a party and celebrate. That word celebrate is what I want to focus on right now, because we're going to look at how the older brother responds here in Luke 15, starting at verse 25. Now his older son was in the field, and as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said to him, your brother has come, and your father has killed the fatted calf, because he's received him back safe and sound. Because he was angry and refused to go in, his father came out and entreated him. In this season, like in all seasons, God is drawing his people to himself. I've heard some pretty amazing stories from around the globe of churches that were trying to make impact in these communities that were closed to the gospel, that when they went online, people who would have been afraid to darken the door of the church were able to hear the gospel and are coming to Christ by the hundreds. And that's just in one story in Turkey. This is happening, and we should be celebrating. There is a Christian virtue, a responsibility on our shoulders, that as the older brothers, the ones who have been working and with the Father, that when those who were lost get found, the Father's heart is to throw a party. He is in the party throwing business. And if you don't like that, you're going to struggle in heaven, because it's going to be a celebration of who he is and his goodness toward us and his welcome of us as his children. So even now, as we're going through all kinds of emotions and God's up to a whole lot of things, one of them is redeeming the lost for himself and inviting us to be a part of the party. Let's not lose sight of that. Let's not become that older brother who can get kind of caught up in what we're doing, caught up in where we've been, thinking that somehow we'd earned this. But remember, it's been given, and let's celebrate the fact that he is giving it to others to welcome them in as part of the family again. He is a party-throwing Father, and he asks you to be a part. Would you join in?